My name is Jay Sugarman, and I want to welcome you to Innovation Showcase. The main purpose of this ongoing series is to inform viewers about exciting innovations and creative individuals across the fields of business, science, technology, education, and the arts. Today, via Zoom, we're fortunate to have as our guest Kelly Cummings, Sarah Viadero, Andy Gluck, and Molly Delehey, all of whom are associated with Service Stars, which is a service learning program for children that introduces participants to local nonprofits and, in so doing, engages the children in the benefits of helping others. Kelly was one of the founders, and she now serves as the executive director. Sarah and Andy are after-school teachers, and Molly is a cooperative games leader. During the program, we're learning why and how Service Stars came about and how it's grown, developed, and operates today. Let's start by meeting our guest and then finding out all about this noteworthy initiative. Welcome. So delighted you're all able to be here.
You.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks, Jay.
Before we jump right into finding out about some of the admirable features of Service Stars, I think it would be of interest if each of you would just very briefly share anything else like to about your backgrounds and possibly how you became associated with the organization. Kelly, would you start, please?
Sure. Hi, I'm Kelly Cummings. I'm the founder and executive director of Service Stars. My background is in teaching. I was a classroom teacher for 15 years, and I now run Service Stars full time.
Nice, nice. Sarah, please.
Hi, thanks so much. I'm Sarah Viadero and found Service Stars by connecting with Kelly, and it kind of blends my love of education and service. I worked in the higher ed space for quite a few years doing community service and service learning programs. So this is a great way to now give back to this next generation.
Most definitely, most definitely. Molly, welcome. A few words about yourself, please.
Hi, thanks. I'm Molly Delehey, and I bring cooperative games to Service Stars, which is just a chance for the kids to meet each other, perhaps in a bit of a different way, more fun, more playful, and then they bring that into the service projects that they do for the rest of the day.
Great, great. Andy, welcome.
Thank you, Jay, for having us. My name is Andy Gluck. I'm a 35-year resident of Newton, and this is my first full year teaching at Service Stars. I'm a retired Newton Public Schools teacher. I was a building aide at an elementary school in Newton, and it's very rare in life, Jay, that you have an opportunity to combine all your love interests in one place, which is what I've been able to do with Service Stars. I love the teaching. I love the environmental element of the teaching, which is a passion of mine, and I love Newton, so it just all blended together, and I just love being there with the kids.
Oh, that's so great. I mean, it sounds like you all came together for just those very reasons. Terrific, terrific. Kelly, can you continue by sharing maybe from the beginning what inspired you and others to start Service Stars in the first place?
Sure. So my initial inspiration was my students. I was teaching second grade and trying to do some service learning with my students in the school setting. And I saw how invested they got in the projects and how much they learned from them, how passionate they were about helping others. And I really wanted to be able to do more than I could within the confines of the school day and the school building. Also, when I became a parent, I realized that there are really limited opportunities for young kids to get involved in service. A lot of organizations have an age restriction. It's usually at least 12 or 13 years old to be able to volunteer. And so I saw this gap in, there are kids that can do and can help and want to help, and the opportunities just weren't there for them to do that and to make it part of, who they are as they're growing up. And so the idea came from those two places to create a summer camp where the kids were having fun together, learning together, and learning how to give back to their community. The people that founded it with me are my husband and a colleague of his who are both middle school teachers. They similarly felt passionate about teaching service to their middle school students and saw the impact that it had at that age. And so we all came together and created it, and it really was successful, and the kids seemed to be really getting a lot out of it, and the parents were appreciative of the program.
How did that initial vision develop to how it is now over time?
Yeah, my initial vision was pretty small. I didn't know if this type of work would fit into a camp setting, and if kids would enjoy it, and if parents would want to sign up. And so, at first, it was very experimental. We were just trying to see if a 2-week summer camp would work, and if it would be enjoyable. Once we saw that it was, and the kids really loved it, and the parents really loved it, the vision kind of grew from there. Parents started asking what else we could do in terms of programming. And so we started to grow slowly at first. I was still teaching full time. And so we tried to
Mm.
do some weekend service projects for kids. We also expanded the size of our summer camp. We brought in a middle school program where the kids are going out into the community on field trips. And so we grew in size, and then I decided to take a step back from teaching because I saw the potential for more programming during the school year. So we're now a full year operation. We do an after school program. We do vacation day programs. We run an April vacation camp, and we run programs in schools. And so it's really grown and evolved as we've learned what the community needs and what parents need and want.
Wow, sounds terrific, terrific. Sarah, what age groups do you work with, and how do you go about tailoring the projects to the range of ages that participate?
Yeah. So in our Wednesday program, which is our current after school program, we have kids in kindergarten all the way through grade 5. So great mix of kiddos doing all kinds of different projects. And so as you can see on the pictures here, we kind of showcase two kind of things happening. One, being on the playground and having fun. And then the second is working together on a project. And you can see there's kind of a younger student and an older student.
Mhm.
And it's something that I love about Service Stars. I think we really try to get them together, and it kind of naturally evolves, right, to this friendship. But we really love that like leadership component we get to give the older students, and they enjoy it. And then when we think about our projects, we sometimes think about, how are we going to explain this to a kindergartner versus a 5th grader, right? So there's some learning there and some differences in how we present. But one of the things we found is that our older students are amazing and they love to give back, which is what we're teaching them to the younger students.
Mm.
So you can see here in this photo, our older students are explaining a project, and the younger students really look up to them as mentors. So that's been really nice. And then we also think about our themes. Sometimes it looks a bit different. So we are fortunate to get to take some of our older students on field trips. So in this photo, they got to go and help pack meals for Thanksgiving with the United Way. So it's a great learning experience for them. While our younger students were still learning about hunger, still learning about those issues, just maybe in our environment where we could touch upon those subjects a bit more for their level. So we definitely do that, and it's been amazing to see.
Terrific, terrific. Andy, building on that, could you give us a sense of what a quote unquote typical day might be like at either Service Stars camp or after school program?
Absolutely. I'll focus on the after school program for now because we have a long after school day on Wednesday, which is Newton's early release day. So the kids
Mhm.
come to us around 12:20, 12:30, and we follow a typical kids afternoon. We have lunch, we have recess, we have snack, but interspersed among those typical schedule pieces is what you see here on the screen. We focus on our STAR curriculum. So we start with a game. And that game can be a way for kids to get to know each other better, to emphasize what we're going to be doing that day. Then we would go into teach mode, and quite often we'll have guest speakers. Here you see one of those guest speakers teaching us about marine biology because we've been studying about animals and the danger of plastics in the ocean. Then we get into what is my personal favorite part, which is the ACT part of the day. And you'll notice the acronym works. We are Service Stars. The ACT part is typically when we do something. We'll do a craft. We will get out and pick up trash in the neighborhood. We will go on a field trip. So that's the A. And then, of course, the last part that's very important for kids is to reflect and to figure out what was the purpose of the teachers wanting us to do this activity and what was our goal today. And the last part I would just throw in there, Jay, is that the program, as I said, goes from about 12:20 and parents pick up around 5:30. There is not a day where not a teacher in the building looks at their watch and says, "Oh my gosh, how could it be 5 o'clock?" It goes
That's great.
really, really fast, furious, and we think the kids have a blast doing all this.
Oh, terrific, terrific. Love your enthusiasm. Molly, building on what Andy was describing, can you share a little bit more about how you and others go about balancing the fun and the play with the serious aspects of community service?
Yes, I would love to. As you can see from the picture here, we always gather in a circle. We say hello to each other, we greet each other, and we work together in some kind of a cooperative game. It could be running, it could be building something, it could be acting something out, but they're not games where there's winners and losers. There's games where the focus is to work together. And then
Mhm.
from that comes this natural connection and ease with each other. And so that I would say is how we balance that, is like bringing them together to give them that feeling of connection, so that whatever then they go do for the rest of the day, they know they've got a buddy with them.
Mhm.
That's great. That's great. Andy and Sarah, can you share a little bit about some of the local services or organizations, charities that you have connections with? Andy, would you share a few?
I'm actually going to let Sarah go first because this slide pertains to one of the operations that she's going to talk about.
Terrific.
Great. Yeah, so you'll see here, this is a picture from Cradles to Crayons, which is, a Newton staple. A lot of folks know about it. And we're so grateful to have them kind of right in our backyard. So we're able to take students there. We usually walk there. We try to fit it in whenever we can, and students really enjoy this kind of tangible, getting to sort through clothes, doing this great work right here in
Mhm.
Newton. So that's definitely one that we love. You can see here from our summer camp, we take students to the Greater Boston Food Bank. So, a little bit of a field trip, getting a little outside of our, Newton neighborhood, but still impactful, giving them that really great experience of what it means to volunteer. And, Kelly touched upon like these age restrictions, but you can see that we get to take the students there and they get to see that, which is great.
Terrific, terrific. Andy, do you want to add any others?
Absolutely. We, oh, there's one other. There we
Go
go.
ahead, Andy. You can.
Thank you, Kelly. She's good with that screen. That's fantastic. So one of the other partnerships that we do here locally, Jay, is with our senior centers. We're very
Mhm.
fortunate to have 2 senior centers within walking distance and a third within a very short ride of our facility in Newton Corner. So as you can see from these adorable pictures, the generational connection between kids and elders is something that we really, really pride ourselves on. We make lots of fun activities. As you see, we do gardening projects, we play bingo, we play tic-tac-toe, we would go trick-or-treating there, which the
Great,
kids
great.
love, and the seniors hand out candy as they walk through. So that is another really strong relationship that we've built in the community. We also do some work with our local fire stations. Just a few weeks ago, we made cookies for them, and we brought them over to Fire Station 1. And lo and behold, the firemen could not wait to give us a tour and show off their equipment. And it was just a spectacular, spectacular day. And then the last one I would touch on that's really the nearest and dearest to my heart is all of the environmental elements of things that we do. We do gardening at some of the local schools. We're about to break ground on our very own first community garden. We just did a beach cleanup with the Surfrider Foundation over on Revere Beach.
Mhm.
Oh, Kelly, you are good. And that was a blast. We collected 50 pounds, 50 pounds of beach trash. And I'm just going to go back to one question prior, Jay, just to touch on it, because Molly did such a beautiful job of showing how we connect kids and make the fun meet the learning. Is all of these activities and these connections that we have, the kids, they're competitive. Like they wanted to come back to Surfrider with who had the most trash in their bucket. It's a really good way, whether it be picking up trash in the neighborhood or on the beach or gardening, for them to be having fun, but the subliminal message and then the very explicit message of they're doing a lot to show service to their community. So it's a great connection.
Wonderful, wonderful. Kelly, before we move on, I know Sarah and Andy just shared some wonderful, impactful associations. Any others come to mind over the years that you might just want to add?
Sure. It's hard to pick out of all of the projects we've done, which are the most impactful. But if we think of impact in terms of, sheer volume of things that we create during a project, Whenever we're packing meals, the kids really get into it. They want to make as many as they can. They love being in this assembly line format. And whenever we've done projects like this, we've created hundreds and hundreds of meals for people in need. This is kids at the Brighton Food Pantry packing lunches. This is our group at United Way. They had packed Thanksgiving meals for families and had done over 700 bags of meals. So those projects really make an impact, and the kids feel really proud of their work. Another way we're able to make a big impact is through collection drives. So the kids actually go door to door. They ring the doorbell. They talk to people about what they're collecting. They have flyers that they've colored in. So it's really cute, and people love it, and they want to give to, kids that are trying to make a difference. And so whenever we do these collections, whether it be clothes or food or books, we end up with wagons and wagons full of donations. And that's really a fun way for the kids to make an impact. We also do some fundraisers. So if we think of impact in terms of dollars raised, the kids love this one. It's a walkathon, even though they always run instead of um, but every year we pick an organization to raise funds for. It's usually one that we've learned about during the year. And the kids get pledges from family and friends for how many laps they think they're going to walk. And they raise the money during an event at Bigelow Middle School. We use their fields for our walkathon event, and it's a lot of fun. The kids really love that.
That's fabulous, fabulous. Molly, just building on, it's hard to imagine there's even more, but what strikes you maybe as some of the more creative or unusual service projects that just happen to arise?
Well, one that we did just this past February is the Valentine's Day talent show. So much fun for everyone. It's a gift to the community is sort of how we begin working on it. If as is one of the participants, you feel like you have a talent that you want to give as a gift. Singing, dancing, gymnastics, joke telling. It could be anything you want to do. And you feel comfortable getting up on stage and giving that as a gift. That's what we want to put together. If not, that's completely fine. Is there something else you want to do? So other children picked perhaps doing an art piece that they wanted to then show, or they were part of the song at the end. So it is truly all of us together creating a time for the community to come in and feel the love. So we use Valentine's Day for that love. And you can do whatever you feel comfortable doing. I bring the music, they bring the fun, the songs, the movement, whatever it is, and it all comes together. And I got to say, we've done it twice now. And it's always this remarkable feeling of when it comes together and the community responds and the kids see that, and everything just seems to grow, and that feeling of connection and love is just palpable in the room. And everyone leaves with a rose and a
Oh.
really great feeling in their heart. So I would focus on that. That's a really fun one.
Oh, that's a terrific one. And just hearing you explain it in your enthusiasm, I want to figure out some talent and participate too now. That's
I love
terrific.
that.
That's terrific. Um, Kelly, how do you and others, given these range, keep in mind that things are age appropriate, meaningful, moving forward? How do you figure out that planning aspect before you do these initiatives in the community?
Yeah, that's a really fun process amongst us as a group. We meet every week. We plan our activities, and we always are thinking about how to make it age appropriate for different age levels and fun. We know it has to be fun. We want it to be fun, and so we're always thinking about ways to kind of work those things in. This picture is of a field trip. We take lots of trips into the community because we know that's fun for kids. This is our trip to the beach for the beach cleanup. This shows students, going grocery shopping to put food in the fridge, cradles to crayons, as we've mentioned. We also try to address a variety of interests for the kids. some kids are really artistic, and we like to find ways for them to use that talent or that interest in a way to give back to the community. Some kids love to sell things, and so we do some,
Mm.
some sales. This is a dog treat sale for the MSPCA. Some kids love to bake, and so we do projects where we're either cooking for people in need, or maybe we're baking cookies and selling them to raise money for an organization. And so we really like to try to address different interests and needs of the kids. Some kids love being outside and really need and want to move their bodies and move around and love the environment. And so we try to do a lot with that as well.
Terrific, terrific. Sarah, what are some of the challenges about teaching service learning to, say, younger children?
Yeah, I love that question. And I was thinking about it and thinking, it could be a challenge, but we sometimes like to say it could be an opportunity, right, for us to tackle. But I think it just gets us out of our comfort zone a little bit, because sometimes the kids will ask questions that maybe we weren't expecting. And so we have to just kind of address that kind of in the moment, as do teaching, right, teachers. And so sometimes it could be a challenge because maybe we're not sure how to answer that, or, we don't have enough time to address what they, are thinking about. But I think our opportunity piece is we'll do this teaching, then we can kind of take some kids aside, read a book with them, look up something that they might be wondering about. And so we always try to frame it in that opportunity way. But it's exciting. It kind of gets us out of our comfort zone, gets them out of
Mm.
their comfort zone. And so I think when we get those little, tidbits of information and those moments, we're able to help students feel great and feel inspired to do what they want to do. So.
Wonderful, wonderful. Kelly, what's been some of the reaction and feedback you've received or overheard from parents or some of the children?
Yeah, a lot of appreciation from parents. I think a lot of parents feel that these are activities that they want their kids to be doing, but they wouldn't be able to necessarily pull them together, in their busy lives as parents. And, as educators, we kind of have a different approach maybe than parents would. And so um, parents are just really appreciative that we are kind of thoughtfully putting these projects together for their kids, and that they have the opportunity to participate in things that typically, they wouldn't. And from kids, they really love it. They enjoy not only the service piece, but all the games that Molly plays with them, and all the ways that we try to work fun into the day. They seem to feel connected to us and to each other, which is important to us. We want them to feel like they're coming to a place where they belong, and that where they're appreciated. And so we've gotten a lot of positive feedback from both kids and families.
Mm. Nice, nice. Molly, what lessons do you and other staff members hope children participants come away with from their time with Service Stars?
Well, I hope the kids feel that sense of empowerment that they can do this.
Mm.
They can do this. And when they do it with others, it's actually fun. And I hope that that's what they feel. Yeah.
Terrific, terrific. Sarah, do you have a memorable experience that comes to mind from uh, students, children, parents from their participation?
Yeah, so we're constantly, in communication with our families. We send out surveys to kind of ask them, from their lens, what they think their kids are learning, and try to get some quotes from them as well. And so we take that and can kind of use that to inform our lessons and what we want to focus on. And then, we're always just being able to check in with the students and think about, again, those aha moments, right? Those moments of like, oh, you really loved learning about animals. Great. I'm gonna like get some books for you and do that with you. And then, one of the things for me that and I'm sure the team agrees, is anytime that a student wants to do service outside of Service Stars, like that is
Mm.
just amazing. And so we're doing it on Wednesdays. We're encouraging them to think about it when they're with us. And so our goal, though, is we want them to take it with them into their, everyday lives. And so we've had students share with us about, I went to the food pantry and dropped off food, or I saw some trash on the playground and I picked it up. And we just want to celebrate that, because it's easy to do it when they're with us, when they're in that headspace of Service Stars. But it can be hard to remember that when they leave. And so when they do, it's just that makes our work, that's it. We're doing the good work. So that's really exciting for us.
Terrific, terrific. Kelly, from the other viewpoint, not the children, students, what they got out of it. What are some lessons maybe that you've learned from the kids themselves from their participation in Service Stars?
I would say one big thing that we learn, and I feel like I relearn it every week, is just how deep they can go in these conversations. We're always working hard to make sure what we're presenting to them is age appropriate, but they always blow us away with like their insights and their compassion for the people that we're helping, and just how empathetic that they can be. And so I think the lesson is to just keep having these conversations that sometimes feel difficult, and keep talking about these topics that are hard, because the kids, they can go there and they can really understand things that we maybe don't always give them credit for. And if you keep having these conversations over time, it really becomes part of who they are and part of their understanding of the world.
Nice, nice. What are some of the future goals that you and others have in mind for Service Stars?
I'm going to share my screen again. We are always thinking about how to reach kids that maybe don't sign up for Service Stars for different reasons. We would love to get into schools so that it becomes part of their school day. And so we've had schools reach out to us over the years when they hear about the work that we do, asking what we can do for their school community. And so we've started to do some of this work, but this is our next kind of big push, is to make sure schools know about us and what we offer. And so, if they have the capacity to bring us into their school day in some way, we would like to partner with them. So we can bring a service project to the school, to the whole school, or maybe to just one grade, and coordinate it and run it for the kids, for the teachers. We can help the school create an after-school service club. We can coordinate field trips to different nonprofits that maybe the school doesn't have a connection with, but we do. And then we can also work with teachers to build service learning into the curriculum that they're already working with, and find creative ways to build in this content. So,
Terrific, terrific.
yeah.
In closing, how can viewers and others find out more, possibly get in touch with you and the organization?
Sure. So I'm just going to show our website here, servicestarskids.org. There's a lot of information on our website, including those school programs, as well as our after-school programs, our summer camp. You can find us on social media. We have Facebook and Instagram at Service Stars Newton, and that really gives a kind of a snapshot of the work that we do, in sort of like a time order, so you can see what we did last week and what we did the week before, and it's just kind of
Oh, nice.
fun to look back at all the pictures and see what we've been up to. And then we are always open to emails and phone calls, and all of that information is on the website.
Terrific, terrific. And we'll be sure to put some of that contact information in the closing credits as well. But unfortunately, we've come to the end of the program. I want to thank all of you so much for taking the time to be here. I've learned so much about the organization. Congratulations on what you've done so far, and continued success with future endeavors.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Also want to thank those of you watching for joining us, and hope you'll be able to tune in next time.